Hello and welcome to our next video in our Path to a Perfect 10 series. My name is Gab Davis and I'm an IBM Lifetime Champion and I'm an admin of all things, especially complicated things and things related to the IBM HCL products like Domino and Same Time. So as part of this series, we've been looking at our stages to move towards version 10 of Domino, Same Time, Traveller, etc. That's now been announced for October 10th this year, so only a few weeks away. A lot of people are now heavily involved in the public beta for Beta 2, so we know what's going on, we know what we're going to see. And so let's speed up a bit and talk about how we're going to handle the upgrades. So this topic I want to talk about today is upgrade priorities and dependencies. Upgrade priorities, this can be a large undertaking, but you have to know the importance of features and functionality to your business and even the importance of certain servers. And that's going to help you plan for the upgrade and avoid having to do everything at once. Staging an upgrade also allows us room to bed in each piece before moving to the next. I'm very risk averse by nature. I don't like to deploy 100 things at once because if something goes wrong, I've got 100 things to look at. I like to stage things and make everything stable before I move to the next stage. So let's talk about dependencies. It's important to be aware of any dependencies like integration products and the impact of design updates. So what kind of things do I mean by dependencies? Well, there's a Domino directory update that impacts all servers in the domain as it replicates out. So if I upgrade one server to version 10, I choose to allow it to upgrade to the latest template, it's going to update my names.nsf to the latest template, and then that's going to replicate out around my domain. Is your Traveller server in its own domain? Third-party products, such as those loaded by Extension Manager in the Notes.ini file. If you've done any customization of your mail file design or any changes to that, and clustered servers. Servers in a cluster are dependent, heavily dependent on each other. So you have to be aware of that. So although it'd be nice to upgrade everything all at once over a single weekend, that's rarely practical and in my opinion, it's not wise. It shouldn't be something you should plan for to go, we're going to go to version 10 this weekend and do everything at once. So start by making a list of what's considered critical in your business, then look at what services depend upon or touch those. So for instance, if Traveller is critical, then you may want to upgrade the Traveller server, but it won't be a true upgrade test unless you also upgrade the Domino directory and the mail templates for the mail files being used by Traveller. Both of those things will have impact outside of Traveller. So although you can upgrade Traveller itself and choose not to upgrade the directory and not to upgrade the mail files, you're not getting all of the feature benefit version 10 until you've moved everything. And if you move everything before you move, say, your mail servers, well, then you have issues. Always be aware that you can usually upgrade back-end services far in advance of the front-end clients. So a version 9 client will always be able to access a version 10 mail file on a version 10 server formatted with ODS 53, the on-disk structure 53, which is the version 10 one. It'll be able to access it fine. A version 8 client will be able to do that. The only thing it won't be able to do will be opening a mail file using a version 10 template if their notes client is version 9. So when planning, always assume you're going to start with your platform base first. That's the actual Domino versions, the actual same time versions, the system templates, and versions of Traveller. Once those are in place, you can start making changes to the things the users actually see. So key platform elements, not elephants. System designs such as names.nsf or events.nsf always start with the administration server. When you're doing an upgrade in your primary domain, or in fact any domain, start with the admin server because the admin server is going to be responsible for processing your admin requests, but it's also going to be pushing out changes to other servers. You want that to be the newest version that you're using. Always update clustered servers together. And I don't mean synchronized identically, I mean as part of the same piece of the project. If I've got 3 servers that are clustered, I don't want to upgrade one, then leave it 2 days and upgrade another. You should always plan to upgrade cluster servers together. Most of the design updates are backwards compatible. So that means, as I said previously, some of the version 8 client can work with a new design update. If it's a system design, not like a mail file, but check the documentation. It will say what's supported and what isn't. If servers are isolated in their own domains, then template updates won't impact them until their own domain instance is updated. So if Traveller is isolated in its own domain and you upgrade the admin server in the mail domain, that's not impacting the Traveller server. So you may have to plan to update multiple admin servers depending on how many domains you've got. Most database features that you're going to be able to get with version 10, most of the advanced features like the 256 gig limit or the ability to log deletions, all of that's going to require ODS 53 or a minimum ODS 52. ODS 53 is enabled by using create underscore R10 underscore databases. ODS 52 is create R9 databases. Go to Administrator and go to the Files tab and see what version of databases you're currently running. I would be amazed if most of you aren't running version 6 because a lot of people just never update the ODS for existing databases, they just leave them. So new databases updated, existing ones aren't. And that's something you can do far in advance of you doing your version 10 update. Integration products is something also that's a dependency. So do you have products running under Domino from third parties? If so, you need to reach out, whether they're backup products or virus protection or products that add features to Domino. You need to reach out to these third party companies and ask them what their support plans are for version 10. Unfortunately, you also have to consider if their support plans don't involve shipping a product that you're going to be able to use by the time you want to upgrade, is that going to be a block to your upgrading? Is it a significant critical piece of the business that you can't upgrade and lose that feature? Or can you disable that feature while you wait and test for an upgraded version? Those are some hard decisions, but it's things you need to think about in advance. Don't go upgrading Domino and then suddenly discover these third-party tools either aren't working or are crashing your Domino server. Also think about Domino itself as a source. Is there any business functionality outside of Domino that relies on accessing Domino that you need to test? So ODBC reports, for example, that read Domino data. The ODBC installer for accessing notes data, it's a few years old. I don't know if they plan to come out with another version 10. I don't know if it's going to be able to read the latest versions, the ODS 53. So that's something you need to look at, you need to test. DIOP queries that might be running outside Domino, Java libraries, that kind of thing. Just be aware of all the things that are outside Domino that might touch it and might consider it a dependency. So that's a very quick walkthrough on update priorities and dependencies. The key things I want you to take away, don't overcommit to upgrading everything in one fell swoop. It seems like a nice idea, but it actually is not going to be practicable for you to do it. There are things you need to do, like update the ODS before you can do something else. So always plan you're going to deploy things in stages. So if you're going to deploy in stages, understand what's business critical and focus on upgrading that first. You don't want a business critical feature impacted by an upgrade you do elsewhere. So always be aware of what the most critical things are and make sure you work on upgrading those first. Be aware when one of your upgrades touches the users. A lot of features will not impact users, so you can often do them at the same time because the users aren't going to see and you can merge things together. But presenting a mass of new features and new ways of working to users all at once is only advisable if you've also invested in a communications plan and some training. You can't just upgrade things, change the way everything looks and works, and give it to the users. So next up in our Perfect 10 session, we're going to speed up a bit. We're going to look at estimating work effort and downtime. As I said, I'm risk averse. I always, when I'm planning, try and put some estimation in on how long things are going to take, and then also an alternative rollback plan and do some testing in advance for my actual plan so I can tell if something can be done in the downtime I've been allowed. And then we're going to move on to start talking about some of the version 10 features. And we're going to start talking about my favorite features, which are admin and TCO. So that was it. I hope you found it useful and speak to you next time.